And here we go. This is Sergeant Sully, who just subbed. Thank you very much for that. Resubbed, I should say. And he's taking the Hanover. Now, before we even get into ship characteristics and stuff, I do want to mention, you heard the responses of both Puddin and Grunty. You're taking a super ship into co-op. Generally, that's not a good idea, because super ships are extremely expensive to play as they are. Every time you take it into battle, it's like it's a hit to your wallet, right? A hit to your credits. You take it into co-op, your battles aren't going to be that fast. You're not going to get that much credits anyways, because it's a co-op compared to random. So the point is, generally, you don't want to take a super ship into co-op. You did, and that's fine, and that's the replay that you sent, so we will talk about that replay and the build and stuff like that. Now, Sully, one question I have for you is, are you only playing Hanover in co-op, and are you playing a lot of games of Hanover in co-op? Do you plan on playing the Hanover in randoms or something else? That's important to know. And C's Nuts, hello. Good to see you again. And thanks for your comment earlier. I did see that. Getting tan somewhere in Europe. I was actually in Phoenix to see my dad for my birthday, and also in Houston to hang out with Sea Raptor. So that was fun. Anyways, let's talk through this as if this is going to be a random / competitive build, and then if he comes in and says he only plays in co-op, we can kind of talk about that too. So Hanover as a super ship, it's one of the original super ships to be released. It's got silly kind of a charge mechanic, which buffs your secondaries. So the Hanover really is all about like getting the secondaries out there. So generally, Hanover is best with a mostly secondary build. When you take Hanover into co-op at specific times, you get 1 or 2 humans versus the bots, which can yield better results, and if you're using blue economic bonuses. Okay. Fair. I would still... I don't like seeing that, but hey, if that's how you play it and it's working for you, then
his credits and his boosters.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's your choice. And we can take a look at the post-battle results screens and talk about that later. So... in the Hanover, especially if you're doing this and timing it and co-op and stuff, I would say you want to focus and go all in on your secondaries, and then you worry about your primaries after that. You know what I mean? You don't take... okay, it's a very rare ship to take into randoms. Fine. So what that means is you want to build a very secondary, very high damage focused ship, right? So let's talk about what that looks like. This is going to be different than a random battle build. So your first skill, main armaments mod 1, I would trash that, and I would take auxiliary mod. You want to keep your secondaries alive so that they're doing as much damage as possible. Your main batteries are healthy enough, they won't die, and you don't have torpedoes to worry about dying either, so I would absolutely go for secondary survivability in slot 1. In slot 2, you can go with Hydro Search, because it's co-op, you're probably only going to use 1 charge of Hydro anyway. Having it last 20% longer is okay. That's a coal upgrade, so I would definitely not run Engine Room Protection. I would instead run Damage Control System Mod 1. I would run DC Mod 1 in randoms too. You're never going to run out of engine, and your rudder being smashed, again, it's co-op. The enemy's rarely going to see your rudder anyways. So
the only way you lose your engine, or your rudder, or your steering is like if you get hit by a torpedo in that place.
Right.
Well,
right.
Here's a big brain move for you.
And if that happens, you're gonna flood anyway, which means you're gonna DCP. So the reduced repair time doesn't matter either.
Right.
But here's the big brain move. You take that or the Hydro because you're in co-op mainly. As soon as you're on fire, they immediately change the AP, so you just bow in. Yep. Just let the fire burn.
So what Puddin is saying is the big brain is not take damage control in co-op, because you actually want to be set on fire sooner rather than later, because while you're burning, typically the bots will switch to AP. And if they're switching to AP and you're in a battleship that's super tanky, you really don't care. So that's what he's saying is the big brain maneuver, and I actually agree with you there. That makes sense. In which case, certain skills that depend on you being on fire could become useful for captains. Let's keep that in our mind for later. Iron Meal says, noob question, how often do secondary batteries die? Well, secondary batteries, just like main batteries and torpedoes and anti-air guns, have a certain amount of hit points. Once those hit points are hit via AP direct hits or HE indirect hits, because they've got that explosion block, right? They will be destroyed. Auxiliary Armaments Mod 1 helps them survive because it doubles their hit points. Same thing with anti-air. Also, you can see with preventative maintenance, there's a bonus to survivability, essentially hit points for secondaries and anti-air guns as well. They do not repair like other modules. That's a key distinction. You cannot DCP and whoop, your secondaries are back. Once you've lost them and anti-air guns, they are gonzo, done. Whereas your main battery, if it gets knocked out, you can DCP it if you need to. So, especially in co-op, that is why auxiliary armaments is so important. Side note, that's also why playing ships like Conqueror, if you're divisioned with a carrier, it's very beneficial to shoot HE at targets because you sweep the deck of anti-air to allow your carrier buddy to go and drop on them and have fun. Okay?
It's also very unlikely that a co-op bot you're facing is gonna hit your main guns.
Right.
So your main armament, like, I
Right.
don't remember ever losing a main gun in co-op on a battleship.
If you're playing co-op, the only time I might recommend main armaments is if you're playing a torpedo-equipped German battleship like Tirpitz that you don't want to lose the torpedoes for. That's the only reason. Otherwise, you get far more mileage out of Oxmod, especially even like the Schlieffen line and stuff. So moving on. Aiming systems mod here, I would absolutely change that out for secondaries. You want the secondaries firing farther range, you want them firing faster, and, or more accurately, and because you want to charge up your special ability, you need to get those secondaries going quicker. So, like, this synergizes so well with Hanover. So
wait. The charge on is with main battery hits.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
The funny
sorry.
button charges through the main battery.
But what I'm trying to say is when you use you have that ability, that buffs your secondaries. So you want that range so that your secondaries are firing off of things. Sorry, I got it kind of mixed up in my head.
I don't hate the aiming systems. Like, you can definitely use it. But what I would never do is, I'm going a bit ahead now. Like, there's an aux mode in slot 6. If you,
I would do that.
Like, you can't do that. I'm just saying, like, if you go secondaries in the 6th slot, you have to go secondaries in the 3rd slot. Don't mix it. It makes no sense to have aiming systems in the 3rd and then buff the secondaries in the 6th.
I completely agree with you there. I completely agree with you there.
If you're going anything in the secondaries, and like Grunthy said, we're cheating a little bit. If you're gonna invest in secondaries, you invest all in.
Yep.
You just go for it.
Yep. Because they work so well together.
I do agree with a 4x2 setup. Aiming is very helpful, but you're investing in secondaries. Just, you gotta go all in on it.
Back up for 1 second. You said 4x2 setup. For people who don't know what that means, he's talking about the main battery turrets. 4 turrets, 2 guns, 2 barrels per. For whatever reason, aiming systems have a bigger impact on twin-turreted ships than on triple-turreted ships, like American battleships, for example. So that's what he's talking about there. Okay, I could see you. If you want to charge up the secondary thing, if you're in co-op, I would say you're better off using main battery mod 2 because a lot of those fights are much closer range. You need your turrets to turn faster, right? Aiming is only going to help you at medium to long range. This is for randoms, but for co-op, I would probably definitely do secondary. With the hint maybe in the back of your mind of maybe you can try turret traverse, but go secondaries and just not use your brain. It's better. It's more fun. Your 4 slot to go along with the big brain Puddin was talking about, maybe you don't want to burn less. Maybe you don't want damage system. Maybe instead you want to burn as long as possible. And if that's the case, I don't know what he would want to take.
Furious?
Yeah.
For heavy AP? I don't think you can fit this in a secondary build. That's just too many points.
Right, but this is more so that the enemy bots are using AP on him more. But I don't know what he could use. Maybe Rudder Shift to help dodge torpedoes. That could come in handy. That's probably the only thing I could think of there. Otherwise, I mean, random battles, this is what you pick.
I mean,
Rudder is bad, but it's gonna be bad no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, even for co-op, burning less is better. Like, just burning less is just better in general.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
Infidelectual, thank you for the 2 months, man. Thanks for coming back, and welcome back. Appreciate you. It's good to be back, sir. Don't forget, I owe you a replay if you want me to cover one. Let's move on to your 5th slot here. Normally in randoms you would take concealment, but you're mostly in co-op. You could do the consumables one that gives you 10% extra action time of your consumables. Personally, I might go for Torpedo Lookout if you're planning on co-op. Give you that extra range of acquisition for torpedoes so you can dodge a little bit earlier. Might help you show that ability.
I was going to say for this, he's got a hydro,
I don't
so
see
the consumable wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
I don't see the value in the consumable mod either, to be honest. Like, I think it does affect the heal, so you would heal a bit more, which I guess is nice. But on the other hand, concealment mod, so it makes the dispersion of the enemy bots even worse, so they hit you less.
Yeah, at medium to close range, though.
Concealment, just for the reason that if you tend to go with that ship in a random battle at some point, you're not totally gimped there.
So it does impact repair party. Damage control action 15 seconds. 16 and a half. If you're burning longer, you need the heal. That's true, Sergeant Sully. That is very true. Okay, so fine. Whatever. And then we talked about auxiliary
like, 3
armaments.
seconds longer heal, right?
Which is actually kind of nice. And then you've gone for spotting over fighter. That's fine. I mean, you're not worried in co-op about enemy planes. So, and even then, I wouldn't take a fighter. So that's fine. Captain skills. Is this Lutyens or Jutland or nobody? I'm gonna guess it's Lutyens.
I like the captain skills with one exception.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't waste solutions on a Hanover that you're playing in co-op. But I mean, if you're a co-op main, I still wouldn't waste Lucians on Hanover. He's probably far superior in Schlieffen, Hindenburg. I mean, he's literally good in anything. So any of your tier 10s, he would be much better off in than the Hanover.
So what you're trying to get at, Puddin, is this is technically a tech tree ship. And as a result, if you put Lutyens here, then you can't put him on other tech tree ships that you probably would want him on. For example, like you had just said, the Schlieffen, right? Personally, my Lutyens is on the Z52 because I find him very useful there. But you can also put him on Hindenburg. He's great on anything. The only problem is there's only one of him, and you can only put him on one tech tree ship. If this was a premium ship, I could see you throwing Lutyens on here easily enough.
Oh, absolutely. It's without a doubt.
Now, you said, Sergeant Sully said it's a special captain, so it's probably going to be... Lutyens is on your Weimar's a premium ship. Hey, Real Durant.
Weimar's premium.
The reason we're saying that is because, Sergeant Sully, you could put Lutyens on any of the tech tree ships out there and still put him on Weimar. And he's fine. There's no need to spec him, train him up for the Weimar specifically. That's kind of what we're trying to get at there.
The only thing I would change is I would take preventive maintenance instead of one of the 1-point skills. And considering he doesn't have IFHE, I'd probably give up the 1% fire chance.
You know what? Even if he was running IFHE, give up the fire chance for preventative maintenance.
I would agree. You want to keep that.
If he had IFHE, I would keep the demo expert and drop the repair specialist.
Okay, because IFHE halves your HE chance.
Right, and the demo expert skill doesn't get affected by the IFHE, so you get a flat 1% back.
So first of all, let's go into the secondaries and determine, do we even need IFHE? So your penetration of your secondaries, these are all 128s, which are very sexy because they penetrate 32 millimeters. That's the magic number. You don't need IFHE. Watch. You go up to 40. What are you penetrating from 32 to 40? You're penetrating USN Battleship deck armor, which is 38, and a couple other things here and there. You're not getting mileage out of it. So there's no need for IFHE there. The magic number is hit. Good. In which case, I can see the argument to remove Demo Expert. Keep those secondaries alive. That jives really well, again, with the auxiliary modification here. Now, if you are taking Von Jutland, you'll note that Jutland does have a boosted vigilance. This is one of those few cases where this could actually help, right? Because it works with Hydro. So the two go together quite nicely. You do sacrifice your turret traverse for main battery. Keep that in mind. But especially in co-op, this could still be helpful. Putting it out there.
I would probably still keep the grease the gears.
I probably would too.
And drop the basics of survivability if you really want the vigilance.
That's true. That's true. You could do that. If he did that, he could even...
and then he gets the preventive maintenance for free.
Right. Or he could still drop one of these other ones and pick up consumable specialist for... in co-op, it's not going to matter, right? But in randoms, this would help. Anyways, you drop these two, go back to your original build. Another side note, I really don't use the Von Jutlands on anything anyways. They're nice to have on Hydro-equipped ships, maybe destroyers or cruisers. The one place that I actually like to put them, you're going to laugh at this, V-25, the Tier 2 German destroyer. Why? Because people like to do all this torpedo jousting. Comes in handy. Big brain.
You can't take vigilance on destroyers.
Oh, that's right. I used to do it that way. They changed it. Yeah.
I have them on the set 42, set 46, and set 52 now for the consumable specialist for the extra cooldown reduction.
Yeah, on the Hydro.
Very minor.
Anyway,
I think once again the big brain move is get rid of basics because just bow into their AP while you're burning, like you say, preventative maintenance to get the health to your secondaries more.
Yep. And this is all fine. This is all fine.
I think vigilance stacks with your Hydro.
Yes.
But
it does. That's why I'm suggesting it.
Yeah.
Because it's a buffed. So why wouldn't you want buffed?
The only question is, do you even need it? Do you need to spot the torpedoes even further out?
In co-op, it comes in handy.
For a ship that doesn't turn,
yes,
you might as well. Like you don't per se really lose anything.
Yep.
But like you never know when these bots are dropping torps because they'll spend all day broadside to you.
Right. I want to say I used my Von Jutland on FDG when I was grinding it the first time. And I found it useful because of the buff vigilance. So, anyway, let's move on. And we're looking at signal flags, and you ain't got none. So that's fine. It's co-op, so who cares? Obviously, secondaries, fire chance, maybe fire reduction, flood reduction definitely, heal boost, speed, consumables, ramming, maybe anti-det would all be useful. But whatever. All right, we spent a lot of time gabbing over the ship build and stuff. Let's get to the freaking game already. It's a co-op game, and we spent more time. We spent enough time for basically, what, 3 co-op games to complete? Talking about your build?
Probably, but I mean, like, we're so used to setting up for randoms. Like,
no, it's a good discussion to have.
We don't spend a lot of time on co-op because we're just like, well, we're just going to take a random battle guy and just go at it because it is co-op.
Yep. The thing is with these co-op builds is you can take a random battle build and go into co-op and do just fine. But you should take a co-op specific build and go into random battles. That's a different story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So most players are going to spec for a random battle, unless they know they're just like Cthulhu is another example of somebody who mostly plays co-op. In those cases, you're specking mostly for, you know, just damage. Take a look at the matchmaking, by the way. Straight super ships, and you're the only human. This is perfect for you, right? Like, you're gonna farm a lot. Co-op games give you more time to talk about the build, right? There you go. Hey, Hujam, chance for a damage record.
This is the type of matchmaking where you can lose a co-op game if you don't realize you're the only human player and play too aggressively.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we were talking about before, and now that we get into the Hanover game, you can see there's this little thing down here that charges up based off of your hits. Right there, boom. Actually, you didn't even have hits. The shells landed close enough to charge. And you got the whoomp. So you want to keep building that up. You can see down here, right? Once you build all that up, you can hit the F key, and boom, you've got what's called combat instructions, and your activation effect is you get 12% extra secondary battery firing range. This, again, goes back to what I was talking about with slot 3 going with secondaries there, and then secondary reload time decreases by 20 seconds as well. It makes you into a secondary DPM monster. I wouldn't even be targeting this Yamagiri. I would be looking at the Annapolis. So you already killed him with your secondaries anyways. You wanted to target the Annapolis because you wanted to be able to either get hits or at least charge your funny button, which it worked out anyways. Use it now. Why wouldn't you?
Well, like for co-op, the second you get it, hit it immediately.
Exactly, unless there's nothing else nearby. There you go. Let's get stream raiders going.
I would actually be turning out to kite these guys to get the guys that are coming in through the gap.
Or slowing down and reversing. One of those two would be useful. I would probably slow down because you can see the Conde is coming up broadside to you. You could be turning your guns to focus on him broadside. But you're kind of... There you go. Now you've seen it and it's too late. And now you're kind of going back and forth. You're not quite sure where you want to focus. Which makes sense, because you lost that opportunity. Now, Ushakov broadside should be able to do good work on him with your AP. Not as much as you'd want.
I would not, if you have the choice, I wouldn't put my secondaries on a battleship that is bow on like the enemy Hanover here.
Yeah, I'd put him on the Conde or the Clausewitz.
Put him on the Conde or the Ushakov.
I would put it on the Conde and shoot the Yushkov.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
I mean, or you just secondary to Yushkov and shoot the Conde or Clausewitz.
By the way, did you notice where you were aiming? Your shells are all hitting too high. You have no chance of citadeling the Ushakov because your shells are too high. Your aim is too high. I don't even know. You should be able to citadel him at this range, at this angle.
Yeah, that was my question too. Like, was it deliberately aimed up a bit because you thought you couldn't citadel it anyway? Or was it just...
You know what? I like the aim at the upper belt for the guaranteed damage.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something does drop low, it goes into the citadel.
Hit your F key. Hit your F key. It's charged, and like Puddin said, you might as well. See how you're on fire, and now this Clausewitz is shooting AP at you? You struggled to find the sweet spot.
All I gotta do is just angle a little bit, laugh at Clausewitz, because, you're German still.
The only thing to worry about with Clausewitz is the torpedoes. I wouldn't be worried about the Hanover right now.
No, but I would put the secondaries on something else. They're still on the Hanover.
Right, okay, fair.
Off Clausewitz, I think it's going to be better because all your secondaries will be able to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
The ship is on fire. And you don't get the buffed accuracy from your secondaries that can shoot the ships behind.
Right.
Because you're targeting the Hanover.
Mm-hmm. So this is what we're talking about here with your targeting.
You could go big brain move here and keep these ships in between you, so you have one to your left and one to your right, so your secondaries on both sides can shoot.
Mm-hmm. You have to deal with the immediate threats to you, which is Clausewitz, Yuzhkov, and Conde, because they're all the ones shooting you.
Yep. Yep. And the bigger ones, in my opinion, are going to be Clausewitz and Conde simply because of torpedoes.
And if you look where the Hanover was, your entire team was going at him, so you're kind of killing your damage.
Yep.
Like, you could be getting free damage on the Yuzhkov right now. I mean, I don't disagree with putting him on the the Clausewitz and shooting Clausewitz.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Funny button charge, go. Yeah.
I think if you just put them on the con, the secondaries would have finished it off by now.
Probably. Probably. And yeah, you can fire on both sides with manual secondaries. You used to not, but then the change happened. Now your secondaries will fire on all sides, which is kind of nice.
But you only get that buffed accuracy bonus on the target you have selected.
Correct.
Only one side will get the bonus, really. But I mean, any bonus is a good bonus.
Mm-hmm. So you lost out on your opportunity to get your secondaries going, because you're sailing too far away from the Ushakov now. I'm not sure why you need to run away from him. By the way, look at your damage, 268,000.
I mean, but you can't sit there and go, why did you run? Like, he had a Clausewitz and a Conde rushing over torps. You have to run from that, which is forcing you away from Yuzhkov.
Yes.
I think the mistake is actually turning back to the Ushakov here. Like,
he could have
going to chase you anyway. Let him chase you while you go for the CV.
He could have controlled the range better, is what I'm getting at, when he knew that the ships... To be honest, really, as soon as those torpedoes came up... as soon as those torpedoes...
So much damage.
As soon as those torpedoes came up, I would have just slowed down, right? Once I knew I had dodged those torpedoes, or they were no longer a threat, that's the big thing I'm worried about with cruisers. Slow down. What am I afraid of now? And that's what I'm talking about, controlling that engagement. He could have had his secondaries on the Ushakov a lot earlier, if you would have done that.
I mean, he could have had him on earlier if he just hit the funny button.
No,
right,
no. The big brain play here is actually you wait until you're in regular secondary range, let that accuracy from the commander skill build up first, and then
use
you
it.
press and then you use the button.
Right, you're using it for the reload buff, not the range. And again, you're with your funny button, you're at 11.7 kilometers. Now, if you had put the secondary range on instead, you'd be at what, 13?
Pause it.
Okay. No secondaries?
You wasted 11 seconds of your funny button by going bow in and not maintaining an angle and slowing down and just letting them creep towards you. Right, like even if you did what Zap was saying, was just as soon as torp threat was done, slow down, let them come at you. You know, I kind of see where Grunty's coming from, but I would have hit the funny button when he was out to get the secondaries going. So while he does come into your secondary range, that accuracy's already built up to where it's eased naturally into it. Right? I get what Grunty's saying, wait for him and build up, and you know, like now that rate of fire is pressuring him even more, but we could debate that all day, but going bow in, you've literally wasted 11 seconds of your funny button, which is the gimmick of the ship.
Yeah, there's no real controversy here because your secondaries shoot like this and like this. So going bow in, no secondaries are firing right now.
Also, all the distance you travel again towards him, you have to just travel back afterwards to get to the CV again.
Which is exactly why I would have been slowing down when I knew the cruisers were no longer a threat.
Yeah, because you're not making the left-hand turn anymore with the island there.
Nope. Or he makes it now and kind of slightly beaches. So
I think that slightly beaches heading the island head first. With that turning circle and rudder shift.
I mean, the other big brain move is wait for your F key to be done and then shoot to get the charge back faster.
Like, you might not even get any, like, if the Yamagiri has torps, you know?
It's a bot Yamagiri.
I mean, the bot are scarily accurate in close ranges with the torps.
You're gonna want to heal, and yeah, the Ushikov's gonna die. And now, look at this. Only one ship left, and because you turn back in, and you have a dead Ushikov in front of you, you can't even go forward to do anything about this. That's basically GG. 310,000 damage is very sexy in a co-op game. Of course, that's because it's all super ships. A lot of HP in
I'm
that.
gonna say this though, he got extremely lucky that the bots came to him and where he spawned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whenever I play a secondary ship like a Kufers and Co-op, I spawn on the side with 2 bots, and then I'm very sad.
Yeah,
But that's what Putin's getting at, yeah.
Yeah, like we you can't discredit that while it's mainly bots, they still came to your side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
He gets a cap for his troubles.
Extra base XP and credits and all that.
You might as well shoot the village.
Yeah, they deserve to die.
They're probably relaying
you.
They're probably relaying the information to where you're at.
Putting out there committing war crimes.
You know what? I don't know who said it first, but it's not a war crime the first time.
God.
I thought you would be saying it's only a war crime if someone survives and can tell the tale.
No, you know, not due to cameras. I mean, not to get too political and all that baloney, but that's why they filmed the concentration camps, because they're like, nobody would believe this.
Hmm.
If you were
And
not
that's it.
zoomed in, you'd actually had a better view there to see if you could shoot over the island or not.
Also could have popped your plane.
Obvious.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, I would have just taken a shot. But then when he zoomed out, I'm like, okay, he's literally right next to the island. There is no low spots.
Right.
So you're worried about shooting the island, but not the villagers?
Yes, because that's a waste of ammo.
Yeah, if he would have shot the village, his guns would have been reloaded by this point. That's kind of what he was getting at.
Yes, we'll go with that.
All right, just under 1,000 base XP in a co-op game is pretty sexy.
6 are really good.
94,000 damage with your secondaries.
More important, I think this is going to be a better question. Is this your typical co-op experience? Like, very high, I'm not going to say 300k, but I'm going to say high damage.
It's a good question for
You
Sergeant
said
Sully.
earlier, if you play on certain times, there's only like 1 or 2 human players on your team.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if you're the only human player on your team, these damage numbers are not uncommon.
Mm-hmm. So he actually made money, but that's because he used blue. Right? If you didn't use the blue...
I mean, the base XP is absolutely insane with almost 1,000. I did not expect that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if this is his average experience, then fine.
Then again, like...
But, well, okay, everybody's goal is high damage, Sully. What I'm trying to say is this your typical co-op experience?
You know what's really insane here? You would even make credits here with like a gray booster only. Why is the service cost so low? Is that a fully upgraded clan base too?
Probably is. Your average is 250k. Highest you got in a 605.
Okay, like, but regardless of whether he made credit here or not, the point is, like, if you use the blue booster
Oh,
on
service
a
cost
tier
is
9
lower
premium
in
ship
co-op?
or something, you're gonna make way more.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that blue booster on a super ship in a co-op game is wasted, but that's me.
Well, I mean, if he's mostly playing co-op, it's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
He walked away making money,
Yep.
right? Like if you take that booster out of this equation, he clearly doesn't make any money.
Right.
Service cost is lower in co-op?
Yeah,
Really?
I didn't
know
that.
That's interesting. This doesn't make sense.
You know what? I think I'm now gonna have to just go play Hanover and see what the service cost is, because we know it's 234 here, right?
Yeah, go for it.
It also helps that he didn't use any signals, right?
Right. So let's take a look at your replay.
What was it, 234?
Yeah.
Somebody with more brain power remember that, because I won't.
Got it.
Thanks.
What should I remember?
Yes, I don't know.
Gotcha, Puddin'.
Oh my god, load game.
There we go. I was gonna say I wasn't seeing when people were talking. Gotta put that up there now.
All right. Where?
All right. So right here, let's get back to the replay here in the render. So right here, you're kiting away, which is the right thing to do. And you're going to see the torpedoes come up in a sec. Conde's got what, 9s?
Only got 9.
Yeah, I believe so.
Clausewitz got 6.
Right. I know Clausewitz has 6. So obviously the Conde's the bigger threat for the torpedoes. There they are right there. So as soon as I see these torpedoes, right, I'm instinctively slowing down. Because I know I probably don't have to worry about torpedoes again.
Yeah. And if you know anything about co-op too, you know that the Ushakov is going to turn around and go for the cap. Because that's what the bots do.
Mm-hmm. But right here, instead of turning back in, if you had slowed down, you could be reversing towards the Ushakov. Again, you just reverse to get your secondaries in range. Let them do the talking. And as he advances on you, you continue to sail away. And what you're doing is you're trying to head towards the carrier's last known position, right? The idea being once the Ushakov is dead, then you can go after the carrier. This game could have been a 400,000 damage or more game if you had made that change.
Close.
That's the only real difference, though, feedback-wise, other than the build we talked about, that I could give you.
And
So
the secondary placement.
yeah, the secondary placement could have helped too. So, but thanks for sending that one in, Sergeant Sully. Guys, I could use a name for this. I'm thinking Co-op Hero could work. And like I said, we're going to do one more replay. It's going to be Big O's game in the nerfed Colossus, and I want to see how it works after the nerf. So I'm very curious about that. But in any case, we're going to go ahead and go back to our Stream Raider screen.